if you find yourself with a camera in your hand and you want to learn how to use it, please subscribe to this channel, like the videos, comment down below what you would like to learn more about. Hi Photos photographers. Out of the top 3 most known camera makers, which one's the best? Today we're going to be taking a look at that, and most of this is a little bit subjective in my opinion, but I'm not going to tell you I prefer one over the other as far as brand, not because I'm trying to be impartial, but I know what I shoot, but that's basically just because I inherited equipment from my father, and that's not a bad thing. So if you're in that same position, congratulations, you have a huge advantage over a lot of other people. I have used, and I know photographers who use other various makes of camera equipment, and I used to kind of think, oh, you know, you bought something because your family uses it, or you know, you decided you liked that sensor or that capability better, and I just happen to like the experience I have with the brand that I use most. But to be honest, most everybody's making these choices because it's what they're most familiar with. On the outset, if they have experience and they know how to use cameras, but they go to objectively try and find something that works best for them, they more than likely are just going to be choosing for how intuitive it is for their mind, how they operate. There's some pretty big differences, and even if you look at the changes in upgrade software from one version to the next, from say Canon or Nikon, you're going to notice fairly big changes in major software or firmware updates. So they're trying to be the best service manufacturer that they can be to their users for hardware and software uses. So think about that. There's going to be some differences that you're going to see come along, and maybe it's not quite what you would prefer in the new update, but it's perhaps a lot different to switch to another maker and getting used to that user interface as well. Kind of a side note is I've noticed a lot of individuals will be a little bit perturbed because they got used to one style of manufacturer or camera maker, and they had to switch for one reason or another, and that was one of their biggest gripes was I'm having to get used to the new manufacturer's software setup. So take that into consideration, because you're going to be working not just with the camera hardware, but you're going to be working with the camera software for a long time. The other side of things, as we've mentioned before, the manufacturers are going to be making their camera models for what they believe the widest user of their cameras are going to exhibit for physical body characteristics of the size of the hand, the ability to move back and forth from one button to the next as the camera is being held, or you know, quite frankly, there's a lot of considerations. And for people like me with a very big hand, I prefer a big piece of equipment. I don't necessarily want to carry something around that's 5 to 8 pounds, but I do want to carry something around that I can handle fairly easily without bumping something unknowingly. And so that's yet another favor in the pro column for me of what I shoot is my dad's hands and mine are very similar in size, and so what worked well for him works well for me. So I didn't have to make a lot of choice in that which camera manufacturer do I buy. But as some of that equipment ages and can't be serviced anymore, yeah, there's some decision points. Do I want to stick with that model, that maker, or do I want to stick, you know, with something that's more versatile for me, something I can use more efficiently? The other question is, if you're looking at the best camera make and what you should buy, then out of the 3 most known, Canon, Nikon, and Sony, consider what you're looking for. Are you looking for the hardware capabilities? Are you looking for the sensitivity of a sensor to be able to shoot in low light situations? it's a good consideration. If you need shutter speed, then take into account the number of frames per second the camera takes. How fast is your CMOS firmware, software? How many frames can it actually receive? If your shutter can actuate faster, which most cameras actually can actuate faster than the CMOS can save images, you should take that into consideration. Frames per second is a fairly standard view of what photographers are looking for. Sports photographers will sacrifice the quality of low light sensitivity for the sensor if it means a higher shutter speed and frame rate per second, because they're looking for that ability to capture that split-second image that nobody else caught. Does it make sense? It's really interesting, but if you look at one industry to the next, each industry has a different standard and has a different preference of camera hardware or camera software firmware to being able to capture just that right image, because there's only one photographer in that very rare moment who's going to get that one image, maybe, and it's going to be more than likely the image closest to that one moment that's going to be the best known, because all the major networks, sports networks, are going to pick up on it and try and use it, and that photographer is going to be licensing the use of that image for a lot of money. So take that into consideration. Take a look at the equipment that you buy to specifically be the best at what your specific niche of photography is. Thank you so much for watching. I look forward to hearing in the comments and seeing the thumbs up of this image as to what has helped you in this video. The content of it has been a help or added value to your photography. And if you're not yet a subscriber, we would love to have your subscription. Thank you so much. God bless.